Hello everyone, I'm Jose Betancourt, and as always thank you for viewing my videos. So here I have the Nintendo Switch. I didn't buy one at launch. It took me a while to actually get around to buying one, but that was on purpose. I wanted to make sure that there was going to be a lot of support for the Nintendo Switch. And of course, as you saw previously, I wanted to wait for Mario Odyssey, which by the way is an amazing game. My son has been playing it more than I have. He basically took the Switch from me and finished Mario Odyssey. He's actually in different worlds or moons. So let's see a few of them. Now, he was telling me he was having difficulty with this particular level. I saw it. I saw him playing it. And I totally agree. It is a tough level. And I'm not going to spoil his game. But the beauty of the Nintendo Switch is that I can switch, no pun intended, users. So here I'm going to switch over to me, because currently my son has his profile loaded. And there you have it. So now everything is under my account. And when I get back to Mario Odyssey, it'll begin playing where I left off, which is awesome. So as you can see here, the screen is really nice. The build quality. Now the weird thing about my experience with the Nintendo Switch is that when I bought it, it was the first time I ever held one. So I had a genuine first time experience with the Switch the day I opened the box and took it out. And I was really impressed. No exaggeration. It is well built. The screen looks really good, as you can tell right now. Has fairly decent speakers. And these little Joy-Cons, they are very little. They are surprisingly full of ingenuity. And I'm going to explain that in just a second. So this is one of the cool and, quite frankly, one of the key selling points of a Nintendo Switch is that you have the portability and you have the capability of popping these Joy-Cons out and having yourself a tablet with two controllers, and you can actually give somebody else one controller, and depending on the game, of course, you have multiplayer capability. A coworker of mine, he brought his to work, and during lunch we were playing Mario Kart, which surprisingly so on this little screen we had no issues playing, and it ran smoothly. Now I was talking about the Joy-Cons, so that little suckers. So what really impresses me about the Joy-Con is that you have so many buttons on this little tiny controller. So you have two shoulder buttons. Actually, it replaces these two shoulder buttons. So if you're playing, because some games will require you to use this controller in this way, excuse me. So it'll replace these two shoulder buttons. So you have two shoulder buttons. Then you have a button right here. You have your usual Y, B, A, X buttons. Then you have your little joystick. Well, I'm from the 70s, so we called every controller a joystick. You're able to click it, and that is really cool. And of course, you have a home button. And the same applies to the left Joy-Con. But you have a dedicated screen capture button. And the minus sign up here is a button in itself as well. And the thumbstick is clickable, so it's another button. So in this tiny little Joy-Con, you have an abundance of buttons. I mean, it's really impressive that this little tiny controller, look at it next to my Note 8. It's let me see. Here's a cap for my Fuji lens. So as you can see, it's a really tiny device, and surprisingly so, it is comfortable to use with my big hands. Now, I can't use them all the time. I prefer, if I'm going to use them, to have them attached to the actual screen. Or it also comes when you buy a Nintendo Switch. It comes with a plastic device where you click them on and you can somewhat use them as a controller. But just as easy as I took these off, it's even easier to pop them back in. That simple. And then I pop in a little kickstand. I downloaded a few demos, but I've mainly been playing Mario Odyssey. My son has been extremely hooked on Mario Odyssey, so I haven't had a chance to finish it yet. I do want to pick up L.A. Noire, Zelda, of course, and look at this. It just reminds me of the old days. And gameplay-wise, they changed a few things around with this specific Sonic game, but it is straight out of the Sega days, playing on the Sega Genesis. I mean, it's just, you get a rush of nostalgia immediately as soon as you start playing. I'm going to show you really quick. I guess I'm playing Mania mode. Let's see. You have a few modes here. Haven't been playing too much of this. I bought it during Black Friday. There was no specific deal on it. I just wanted to get it. And it's perfect for handheld use. And that, as I stated, you can dock this as well. So, the big question is, what makes the Nintendo Switch so attractive to buy? Well, I stated that it gives you the capability of taking a game like Sonic Mania, and let me lower this real quick. You have the capability of taking Sonic Mania on the road, playing it handheld mode, and then you can dock it. Now, if I wanted to play this game in multiplayer, once again, I could, I could pop out the Joy-Cons and give someone a controller, and we have co-op capability on the fly. And then, of course, you can also dock it to your television so that you have it in full screen and higher frame rates, higher resolution. And maybe you do get a slight bump in frame rates. I'm not sure. But the whole concept of power and performance, we all know that Nintendo consoles have always been somewhat quirky. They've always gone against the grain. They're doing it again. They're not focusing on power. They're focusing on what makes their Nintendo products Nintendo products. Which is, if you look at the Wii U, you look at the Wii, the Nintendo 64, they've all had a quirky design. They've all been very unusual to look at. But each console has had some innovative features. Now, if you look at the Super Nintendo, well, not even the Nintendo Entertainment System, they had Rob the Robot. It had a light gun, Duck Hunt, which was amazing. Then you look at the Super Nintendo, they had shoulder buttons on their controllers. And then Nintendo 64, it had the analog stick and the rumble pack. The GameCube had the little mini disc. It also had a very innovative controller. The Wii, of course, it started the whole motion phenomenon. The Wii U gave you a tablet as a controller with touch capability. So you had the ability to play on that tablet or dock it to your television. And here is the Switch. You could pop these out, these Joy-Cons, and you can play multiplayer. Or I can have them both separated, and I can use one on each individual hand and play it a little more comfortably. So there's many different ways to play on this Switch. It has more than enough battery power to play some of these very good looking games. Now, I have a PlayStation Vita, and even though Killzone for the PlayStation Vita was really, really good, it still is a mobile game. Well, not mobile, but it's a portable game. You can tell the difference. So when I'm playing Mario Odyssey, which is, once again, it is a AAA title on the palm of my hands. It is not what you would see on a PlayStation Vita. So if you were wondering how it would stack up to the PlayStation Vita, and I'm a big PlayStation Vita fan, I think it's an amazing piece of technology. And there goes the Joy-Cons. You can use them individually. Those two straps, they do come included when you purchase a Nintendo Switch. So there's a lot to love about this Nintendo Switch. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. But, you know, Nintendo, they have a formula that works. They continue to build upon it. They continue to come out with firmware updates. They're going to add their Nintendo Store, or whatever they call it, where you can purchase or rent old classics. And I'm totally looking forward to having Tecmo Bowl, Mike Tyson Punch-Out, etc., on my handheld. That is going to be amazing. Now let me show you really quick their photo app. I believe you hit down and you can zoom in some ways. Well, you can zoom in. It's right now is a little tough to see the lettering, but I promise you, you can zoom in. Actually, I think there we go. Look at that. Look at that. That is awesome. That is so awesome. And you have filters that you can mess around with, as you can see here. Of course, I'm a monochrome guy, black and white for life. But look at that. That is so cool. And by using this photo mode, you can see the environments around the Mario, and you can see how pretty this game is. Now, if I want to capture this, I just hit the capture button on the left side, and there you go. So if I hit the home button and I go down to my photos, and you're going to see my photos. There goes previous photos that I've taken. I don't remember taking these, quite honestly. So once again, is the Nintendo Switch worth a buy? If you're one that is a fan of the Mario series, absolutely. Because now the Switch is getting third-party support. You have Doom, you have Skyrim, you have NBA 2K18, and then you have Nintendo's first-party studios, which are, you know, they are legendary when it comes to their games. The quality of their titles, it's just great to see a studio bring a game out when it's ready, plain and simple. And Nintendo has that luxury. Their first-party studios have that luxury. So you know you're going to get outstanding, top-notch, AAA first-party exclusives. And now you're having third-party support. And the fact that Doom is playable on the Nintendo Switch, I haven't played it myself, but I've seen plenty of reviews. I've talked with people who own it. They are super impressed that Doom runs on this little device. Of course, it doesn't look as good as a PlayStation 4 or Xbox One, but Nintendo never made claims that the Switch was supposed to compete in that department. Look at that. That's cool. I can zoom in and out. Wow. Here I am being a big dork. So, the Nintendo Switch gets my seal of approval. 5 out of 5 stars. As I stated, it's not perfect. Oh, there goes Mario doing his little dance. So I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to let Mario dance while I give my conclusion. Yes, if you're on the fence about the Nintendo Switch, I definitely recommend it. I'm Jose Betancourt, and as always, I thank you for viewing my videos. I'll be talking to you soon. Bye.